I'm joined on the line this morning by Richard Halpern, a member of the Personal Injury Alliance. This Thanksgiving weekend, many families are going to be traveling north to enjoy the fall colors, close up their cottages, and celebrate the holiday with family and friends. As with many festive occasions, this weekend's celebrations may include alcoholic beverages, and we want to remind listeners that whether driving in the city or in cottage roads, the same holds true. There is no excuse for impaired driving. Now, Richard, how significant is impaired driving in Ontario, let alone the country?
Well, it's a huge problem across the country. We know from statistics that more than 1,000 people in Canada are killed by impaired drivers, and in excess of about 60,000 people are injured. And that's just the impact that it has on people directly affected by it, but it also has an impact on our system as a whole. So there's a very heavy cost to impaired driving there, to our insurance system, and to our healthcare system as well.
Now, all of this talk about impaired driving, what is the actual law on impaired driving?
Well, the criminal law provides that if your blood alcohol content exceeds 0.08, then it's a crime to drive, and you shouldn't be driving. You're impaired. The best policy really is if you intend to consume alcohol, you shouldn't drive at all, in my view.
So, what is the role of the Personal Injury Alliance in an impaired driving case?
The Personal Injury Alliance law firms, and there are three of them, my firm, Thompson Rogers, Oakley Bigman, and McLeish Orlando, we represent the accident victims and their families in the claims that they make after they get devastated by one of these accidents. So where somebody's injured, it really is disruptive to their life and to their family. They need to concentrate on their rehabilitation. They need to concentrate on their recovery. And our insurance system is a very, very complicated system to navigate. And that's where we come in. We have a lot of experience in representing injured people and their families. We help them navigate through that system, and we ensure that they get the recovery, the compensation that they're entitled to when they're victims of these accidents.
Now, when it comes to victims and their families, how big of an impact does impaired driving have on them?
Well, it's enormous, really. Many of these accidents are very, very serious collisions. They're not accidents, actually. They're collisions because they are all preventable. Impaired driving shouldn't happen, and they're preventable if people know better. So the impact of these collisions is really incredible. It disrupts the lives of everybody. It prevents people from looking after their families and going back to work. It often involves a long and difficult process of recovery and rehabilitation, and that's why injured people and their families require the support of a Personal Injury Alliance law firm.
If people would like to get more information on the PIA or about impaired driving cases, is there a website they can go to?
There is. If people want to reach us, they can go to pialaw.ca. And on that website, they'll learn about the personal injury law firms. They'll also learn about their rights and entitlements there. And I think most importantly, what they're going to learn is why the lawyers of the Personal Injury Alliance are qualified to represent them. You'll see that we emphasize credentials, and our lawyers really have the credentials to ensure that these people get what they're entitled to.
One last item before we go. I understand that the PIA and MAD Canada have joined together for a giant sponsorship.
We have indeed. I think the Personal Injury Alliance law firms are concerned with two major efforts. The first is the prevention of injury, and the second, obviously, is the support of people who are victims of these terrible accidents. In terms of prevention, it really was an appropriate alliance between the PIA and MAD, because MAD's objective, obviously, is to reduce the number of deaths and accidents in Canada from impaired driving, and we're pleased to support that initiative.
Speaking with Richard Halpern from the Personal Injury Alliance. Richard, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us this morning.
Thank you, and drive safe.